Evening, folks. Just a short day with live. Now, I make no apology for being deep in my cup. I've got a couple of days off, and when I'm not driving, I like a wee tickle. But I've been reflecting on Rachel Reeves' speech today about an extra 22 billion in unfunded costs left behind by the previous government. And I got to thinking about it. I thought, so there we are, the IFS, and everybody else had missed projects that were authorised by the government, the previous government, but were not costed. And I thought to myself, does that sound about right? And the answer to that is, yep, sounds about right. We knew about a massive £18 billion black hole in the new government's finances as they went forward over the course of this parliament because of a 4% cut in national insurance. We knew about that. But what Rachel Reeves did was deceive the British people. And I don't like the term the British people, because there is no such thing as the British people. There are the Scottish, Welsh, English and Northern Irish people in a union, but they're no British. They have distinct national identities. They have different cultures, they have different traditions, and they have different ways of thinking about community. But when Rachel Reeves says there was another 22 billion quid worth of uncosted commitments in the last Tory government, when they dropped the national insurance by a further 2%, taking another £9 billion out of the Treasury, I thought to myself, maybe she's right. And then I listened to what Rachel Reeves had to say. And this is the important part, folks. I listened carefully to what she had to say. And these were funding commitments. Pardon me. I didn't say I was deep in my cup. For future projects. Now, Miss Reeves, or Mrs. Reeves, or whatever her title is, has scrapped these future projects. And I mentioned that in the show today. But remember, these future projects had not been commenced. So there were promissory notes to do. So therefore, the idea that they were a cost of 22 billion in the public purse is illusionary, because these projects had not commenced. So, yep, there might have been an overspend of a commitment by the Conservative Party. But we know the Conservative Party have been leaving fiscal traps for the incoming government, like the 4% drop in national insurance. That left an £18 billion hole over the term of the next parliament. And I specifically say that, the term of the next parliament, because we don't know how long it will last. but it's projected to last 4 years, potentially 5 years. So that 18 billion black hole that we already knew about was going to be over the term of the next parliament. What Rachel Reeves told Seamus Logan of the SNP today was that this was promised spending to the cost of 22 billion quid. That's no promised spending. That's no actual spending. That's a commitment to spend. So, in her statement today in the Commons, Rachel Reeves had a very easy out, because no government is beholden on the commitments of the government before. So it was very easy to say we're going to scrap those projects which have been committed to. So what Rachel Reeves did today was mislead the UK by scrapping £22 billion worth of spending commitments for whatever they were, if the Conservative government came to power. But they didn't come to power. So therefore, the Tory government's previous spending commitments hold no sway. None. Because no government can be held to the commitments of a previous government. That has to be a choice, like the Labour Party's commitment to sticking to Tory fiscal rules under George Osborne and successive chancellors. Now that is important, because there is a gap between the tax take and the spending commitments that the previous Conservative government made. But they were commitments for projects that were to come online. So that's very easy to scrap. But what we have witnessed with Rachel Reeves' statement today is that austerity is still the UK state's policy, driving people into poverty. The only way out of the particular situation we're in is to try and find a way to rejoin the EU single market, because that's our closest neighbours and their biggest market. And the other thing that we really need to do is to open up freedom of movement again for the young. For university students and for the young. We need people to come and settle here. We have a declining population right across these islands, and we need people to come and settle here. And we have to encourage them and tell them it's worth coming to settle here. Yep, sometimes we'll have to be selective in the sectors that we need the people to come here to fulfill the employment gap. But the harsh thing that this government doesn't want to understand is that we need people to come here to take up the trades and to take up agriculture. Because it appears that our people are no fucking interested. and those things, it would appear that our people, especially in Scotland, value the academic way forward as opposed to trades and production. And that's where redistribution of wealth comes into it. Because we need people who work. Thanks, Mr. E. We need people who work in the manufacturing sector and the food processing sector, even in the very lowest of sectors when it comes to the service industry. I mean, if we look at what Sarah does as a biohazard cleaner in a big factory, if that factory isn't clean, then the people who work there won't be productive, because that factory, because the amount of people work there, is just one big fucking petri dish for any virus that's out there in the community. So we need a government who's going to invest in people the way that the SNP have done for the last 14, 15 years. When we look at the evolution of the tax system, and we look at the well-being society, and we look at the UK right now, as Mr. V says, it's collapsing. It's collapsing in on itself because of political choices. We always talk about there's no magic money tree. That's absolutely not true. The UK is so far in debt that the debt is 100% of GDP. Governments keep telling us that the UK's finances are like household finances. No, it's not. Me as a householder, me as someone who lives within a community, it doesn't matter whether I own my house or rent my house or whatever, that's irrelevant. Absolutely irrelevant. But if I don't have enough disposable income to pay my bills and buy stuff that I want, never mind what I actually need, but what I want, then the UK economy will fail. Why will it fail? Because everybody of a decent earning income has anything they ever need. A roof over their head, the ability to feed themselves, the ability to pay their bills. You know, we have the basics, but we also have a huge number in the population who do not have their basics. And unfortunately, a massive part of that number are children. Absolute children. And if we don't invest in the children, their education, their health, their well-being, then we have absolutely no future. None. And this new government and Rachel Reeves today has further condemned the market these islands wide to failure. I don't know how many times I have to say this. The UK is a market economy. It has been for ever because we've had conservatism for, well, it's been there since Thatcher came to power. Two cheeks, one arse, very little diversion, and much a con on the people. I'm going to leave it at that. But this had to be said. Rachel Reeves' statement in the Commons today that we a £22,000 overspend when we knew the Conservatives were laying fiscal traps for the Labour Party. We knew this through the reduction in national insurance payments, leaving an £18 billion black hole over the term of the next Parliament. And then Rachel Reeves tells me there's a further overspend of 22 billion quid for projects that hadn't commenced yet. And she announces that those projects will be cancelled. Wow. It's a bit like the trade unions in yesterday's broadcast. Going on strike because there was no clear offer on the table. Normally trade unions go on strike once they get the offer. Things are going to hell in a fucking handbag, folks. And I mean that. Things are going to hell in a handbag. Right, anyway, I say I made no apology for being deep in my cup. Hope this made sense to some of you.